The second half of today's lesson deals with complementary and supplementary angles. So complementary angles are listed first here, and it is if the sum of the measure of two angles is 90 degrees, then the angles are complementary. And if we have supplementary angles, they are the sum of measures of two angles that make 180 degrees, then we call them supplementary. Notice that 90 degrees is smaller than 180. Well, the way I would remember it is that C comes before S in the alphabet. So complementary, it makes 90 degrees, which is smaller. Supplementary are angles that make 180. So here we have angle F and G. Those are complementary angles. And if we put them together, they would make a 90-degree angle. So for instance, this might equal, let's say, 55 degrees. And then this one over here would have to be 35 degrees. Because if I took 55 degrees and I added 35 degrees, that would give me 90 degrees, because I'd have to carry a 1, and that would make 90. And so over here, if this were, let's say, 110 degrees, this one over here would only have to be 70 degrees, because 110 plus 70 makes 180. So we're going to use that concept with these problems over here. And so it says use the figure to complete the statements. So we're using this figure right here, and it says angle NKL. Now remember, the middle letter here determines where it changes directions, where the vertex is, where the corner of the angle is. So NKL, that's 70 degrees. So we have 70 degrees right here. That's NKL. Angle LKO. So L, K, and O is 20 degrees. See, K is where the corner is, and then it goes over here. That's 20. So that's that one. And those numbers add up to 90 degrees. So we say they are complementary angles. They complement each other, and they make a 90-degree angle. And so we'll say complementary angles. Well, let's take a look at JKO. K is the center. So we start at J, go to K, and then go to O. So JKO is 160 degrees. OKL, so OK to L is only 20 degrees. That's this one right here. So we say they are supplementary angles. Supplementary angles. And the reason we call them supplementary angles is because they add up to 180 degrees. So if they don't add up to 90, they're not complementary. If they don't add up to 180, they're not supplementary. So let's take a look at this next set of directions. It says use the diagram to tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. So complementary has to add to 90 degrees. Supplementary has to add to 180 degrees. Neither would be if it's some other number rather than those two values. So let's take a look at the first one here, JPK. So JP to K. So we have to figure out what this is. Now it's hard to read these numbers from here, but they go up by increments of 10. So it's starting at 10 degrees here, and I can count by tens. This is 20, 30, 40, 50 is the degree marks there, but I count by tens. This makes 20, or 10, 30, 40, and 50. So, I'm sorry, 10, 20, 30, and 40. So 40 degrees is what we have for JPK. So that's that mark. Angle KPL. So we start at K, P is the center, and then L here. And so again, go up by tens. So we're starting here at 50 to 60. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then it goes right in between 60 and 70, so it's 65 degrees. Well, when we add those two numbers together, we do not get 180, we do not get 90, we get 105, so we would say neither. Those angles are neither complementary nor they are supplementary. LPK, so let's take a look at that one. LP to K is right here. So we count those, and actually that's the same as KPL that we just did. So we're counting that again, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 65 degrees, we said that was. And MPL, MP to L, so it's just this little section right in here. So It goes from 115 to 140, so you can subtract the two numbers or just count. So 10, 25. So we end up with 25. Now those two numbers do add to make 90 degrees. And so what we have here are complementary angles. Well, let's take a look at the next one. HPM. So HP to M, way over here. So HP to M, and actually since H starts right on the 0, we can just read off the number. And so I read off the one that is over 90 degrees because that's larger than 90. And it goes all the way to 140. And so that's the degree mark there. MP to N. MPN, well, that's 140 to 80, so that would be 40 degrees. So if you weren't sure, you could just count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40. Well, those add up to make 180, so we call these supplementary. So supplementary angles there. And now we have the last one here, LPM. So L to P to M. And that was 25. 115 to 140 makes 25 degrees. And then KPJ. KPJ. We count those, that goes from, looks like 50 to 10. And so that's only 40 degrees. Well, those numbers only add up to make 65 degrees. So that's neither as well. So again, the angles don't have to be right next to each other to be complementary. See, these are complementary angles. They're not right next to each other. And the same thing with supplementary. They're not right next to each other, but they do have to add to make a specific number. Complementary adds to make 90. Supplementary adds to make 180. Well, those are the problems you'll see on tonight's homework. Good luck.